Good evening. Welcome to another enthralling, thrilling conversation with Matthew and Hirami from English Uplift. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us every week, week in, week out. We hope that we are at times able to provide you. You're just about to sneeze. Jeremy's like, we hope that we are at times able to provide you with some insight, some good information, some tips perhaps, some feeling of passion for this great profession called teaching.
こんばんは。
Good evening.
こんばんは。お疲れ様です。
Yes. お疲れ様です。
ちょっと待ってください。
So I believe the chat box is alive and well. By all means, send us a message to say who you are, where you are, how you are. This rainy Thursday evening here in beautiful, beautiful Tokyo.
今日ね、ちょっと雨降りましたね。
Yeah.
でも暑い、蒸し暑い。皆さん
It's been a very hot few couple of days. That means that we need to go to the park earlier than usual. In the morning, we take the kids and we're lining them up inside. We put them on the rope inside.
Right.
Usually when we go to the park, the kids line up outside.
Yeah.
They put their shoes on, they go outside, they hold onto the rope and wait for the others to come out. But because some kids are faster than others, some kids are waiting in the sunshine for a very long time.
Right.
So we've decided to line them up inside, put their shoes on inside. We put a mat down on the carpet in front of the door, in front of the genkan, and they line up inside and we all go out together.
そうなんだ。
It's working okay.
Good.
It's working good. At least we're not dying in front of the school before we even go.
そうね。そうなんかあれね、最近大きな地震があったり、
Yeah.
ね、なんかまたちょっと落ち着かなかったりするのかなっていう感じですけど、皆さん大丈夫ですかね。
We hope you are well. So what's coming up? We've got some rather exciting news.
そうですね。
The English Uplift Summer Retreat 2022 is well and truly coming together.
そう、前 YouTube でね、つまごいってお話をしちゃったんですけれども、実はちょっとこう気になる場所があって予約が取れない感じだったんですけど、取れたんですよ。Luckily.
Yes.
なので、だったらこっちがいいかなっていうことで。
So the location has changed from where we told you last week. This is important to know.
Right.
But it's still pretty good.
そうなんですよ。とてもいいと思います。
We can say the name.
名前はちょっと今忘れちゃったけど、まあ湯河原のね、
場所は湯河原。
湯河原なんですけど、四つ星ホテルで、温泉付きでもちろんね。でしかも食事がね、やっぱり私たちすごい食事大事じゃない。
Of course.
で前のも良かったんだけど、ビュッフェみたいな感じでね。
It was good. It was great.
なんだけど、今回はちょっとね、アップデートした若い席。
幸先生、good evening.
こんばんは。
食事アップグレードされました。
しました。
おー。
だってせっかく行くから、だってリトリートだからね、学んで、楽しんで、リラックスしてっていうのを全部込みの、ちょっと先生方、私たちに対してご褒美感覚のある 内容のある研修をしたいと思ってますね。
Year's topic is learn, relax, and refresh.
そうです。
Learn, relax, and refresh. And we have those three things.
いや、まあほら、コロナとかでも先生方疲れてたと思うし、大変だったと思うしね。まあ私たちもそうなんですけど、ちょっとこう、リフレッシュも兼ねて
Yes.
したいなと。
Learn, reflect, relax, and refresh. These three things are contained within every minute of the retreat. One thing that hasn't changed from last week, kids are very, very welcome. In fact,
そうです。
kids are almost integral, which means they really do need to come along. If you have kids, please don't hesitate to bring them along.
そうそうそう。
We are thinking of the age group of any kid between 5 and high school. まあ、中学3年生。
まあ基本的に活動のメインのターゲットっていうのは小学生なんですけど、今回のねトピックは、インフォメーションギャップのある活動をたくさん
Right.
やろうっていうこと
Now,
ですね。
if you've never heard of information gap, or if it sounds ちょっと硬い、please understand that we're not looking for a cool sounding word. We're not looking for something, you know, in theory. We're looking for answers to certain problems that many teachers have in the classroom.
そうそう。
Specifically, maybe kids who don't have enough confidence with English, kids who, or in your lesson, go through a lot of pattern practice but don't actually look like they enjoy it. We're trying to solve these kind of issues. If you want your kids to be speaking more to each other and with each other in English, not just one way with the teacher, then you'll need to know more about this concept of information gap. And we're going to be looking quite in depth about information gap activities, and you're going to walk away from this retreat totally learned, totally relaxed, and totally refreshed, and with a higher than ever motivation to get baね、 into the classroom and try some of these new ideas.
そうそう。で、今回そのお子様連れをね、可能っていうのは、まあね、ぜひ子供もっていうこともそうなんですけど、実際にね、マシューが先生方とやったり動画を見たりってことはあると思うんですけど、リアルにね、子供たちとどう接するのかっていうのを見てもらうのもいいのかなって思って、でそれでまあせっかくだからね、先生方の、まあ、生徒さんじゃなくてご自身のお子様も一緒に連れてきていただければ、その研修の一環としてマシューの英語活動に参加してもらうっていうことになります。
I'd love to meet your kids. I'd love to have them experience maybe a classroom experience of English that they maybe have never had before, or I think you know me very well. I like to have kids speak out, and I would love to have your kids speak out, and I would love you to see your kids speak out.
でその実際にね、その活動をしてもらうのは、まあ先生方それちゃんと見学してもらって、またそこから分析をして、そこからいろいろまた広げていくっていうのを2日目にやりますね。なので1日目はワークショップ形式で先生が実際に体験しながら学んでいただいて、で Day2 ではそのマシュが実際に英語活動するのを見ていただいて、それを分析してまとめていくっていうところをやろうかなというふうに思ってます。それでね、Day1 なんだけど、先生たちはこうワークショップ参加してね、やるわけじゃないですか。もちろん子供もいていいんだけど、今回はですね、先生が学んでる間に子供だけちょっと別のところに行ってもらおうと思ってるんですけど、それが実はですね、湯河原って陶芸がね、結構有名だったりするんですよ。陶芸。なので、子供たちに陶芸体験をしてもらいます。先生が、勉強してる間に、子供たちだけをこう陶芸のね、教室の方に、ご案内するんですけど、もちろん陶芸の方にもスタッフがいらっしゃって、先生もいらっしゃって、子供に教えるのに慣れてる、ね、方がいらっしゃるので問題ないんですが、一応その引率をねちゃんとつけようということで、 今の小学校の、もう現役の小学校の先生なんですけど、現役の小学校の先生が引率に一緒について、子どもたちをそう見ていただけるというふうに手配も済みましたので。
We're very lucky to have this particular teacher on board with us at the retreat. She's very nice. She's very experienced. And we have
すごく経験のあるね先生で、私も信頼している先生なんで、まあ、友達じゃ友達なんですけどね、すごく信頼している方なので。
We're very lucky to get her cooperation. And the kids are going to love her. It's going to be fantastic.
受けてもらいました。取れたんでね。
So the planning is underway for that. We will let you know more details as we get them.
そうですね。
We know the dates. So if this is all new to you, please write these dates down. August the 10th and 11th.
そうです。8月の10日、11日の1泊2日で、やりたいと思います。で、私たちね、なんかね、ちょっとこういろいろ調べていくうちにすごくいいとこなのよ。川沿いで。川沿いのホテルでね、すごくいいところなんで、ちょっと私たち前日入っちゃおうかなんて言っててね。もう疲れてるし、でも準備もあるし。
we're going for 2 nights.
そう。なので前日から湯河原にいます。
So you're very welcome to for sure. We are. It's that good. I mean, it's not. I think if you go for 1 night, you're going to think, we should have gone for 2.
まあでもほら2日目は、まあ、お昼ちょっと過ぎ、お昼食べてから最後にまとめのがあってから解散なので、まあ予定では2時半ぐらいには終わる予定なんですね。なのでまあその後にまたちょっと湯河原の街をプラプラしていただいてからお帰りいただくのもいいかなと思います。マシはね、また次の日、仕事があるんで。
On the 12th, yes.
そう、なので、もうすぐ帰らなきゃいけないんですけど、
Yes.
まあ、そのこともあってね、ちょっと全泊しようかなんていうことで、私たちも前日いますので。
Because that always happens. We always go for like 2 nights, 1 night somewhere. And every time we do, we always think, we should stay for 2 nights.
でも、前のね、リトリートは2 days, 2 nights いたんだよね。そしたらね、食べ過ぎちゃってね。
that's terrible.
ご飯が美味しくてさ。いや、あれはね、ちょっとロンドンの関係もあったから、打ち合わせもあったんでね、そういうふうにしたんですけど、まあ、
今年は。I'm sorry, that place, I don't know, the food was too yummy.
美味しすぎてね。
We ate too much.
でも今回は、海の幸、山の幸が、ね、楽しめる湯河原にしたので、ぜひ。
I've never been there and I've never heard of it. It's in
Really?
No, I haven't. It's in Shizuoka?
静岡、住所で言うと熱海に近い、熱海なんだけど、もう熱海と湯河原もほとんど一緒なんだけどね。
Okay. And it's one Shinkansen train down, isn't it?
そうね。
From Tokyo.
Yeah.
Okay.
ぐらいかな。
So it's a fairly convenient place to get to, whether you're from Tokyo or south, coming from the south.
とりあえずね、すごく有名なんですよ。もともと温泉とかがね。すごく自然も綺麗なところなので、朝のね、散歩
行くつもりですよ。Before breakfast, we're going to go for a morning walk.
すごい素敵なね、公園があるんですよ。めちゃくちゃ素敵で、これは行かなきゃみたいな、すっごいリフレッシュになるようなところを見つけたので。
You may be a late sleeper or like to sleep in on your trips, your day trips or your hotel stays. So do we, but on the other hand, getting up and doing things like going for a walk at 6 o'clock in the morning in a place you've never been can be incredibly refreshing. And we did that the last retreat.
そうね。
Went to the beach.
朝誰もいないビーチに行って。
It was beautiful.
まあ一応それは皆さん絶対ではないんですけど。
No, of course not.
でもせっかくだからみんなで行ったら楽しいかなと思うので、まあそんなことも考えているリトリートになります。近日LINE 公式アカウントの方でご案内しますので、お楽しみにしててください。ちょっとね、バタバタ 私がね、ちょっとバタバタして遅れてしまっているのかもしれないんですけど、今週末ぐらいにご案内できるかなと思います。それでもう締め切りも結構早めに締め切ってしまう予定なので、ぜひ、日付を開けといていただけるといいかなと思いますね。
Yes, 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 yes. And also check your kids' schedule.
そうそうそうそう。
I think it's just going to be fantastic. It's been, even planning for it has been so exciting.
参加していただく方にはね、また特典とかもつけようと思ってますし、また他にもちょっとね。
Yeah.
あれはどうぞ。
I was going to ask, some teachers might be thinking, is there a Zoom option?
そうなんですよ。Zoom ないんですかって。でね、
anyone who has attended our workshops, if you've attended them on Zoom, of course, we thank you very much. But if you have attended maybe, for example, both on Zoom, but also in fact face-to-face, you will know the difference. The experience face-to-face is so much more than watching it on Zoom. So,
前回、去年のはね、Zoom なしのね、ものを企画してたんですよ。先生たちとのコミュニケーションをメインにするっていう感じなんでね。で、今年はね、どうしようかなと思ったんですけど、とは言ってもね、やっぱりそのインフォメーションギャップだけでも知りたいとかいう先生いらっしゃるんじゃないかなって思って、今回、Zoom もやろうかっていう話なんですよ。でただし、Day 1のみ。Day 1の、ワークショップの部分だけ、ライブZoomでね、配信しようかなって思っています。で、せっかくなんで、マシュのライブも聞きたいって思う人がいたら、マシュのライブも Zoom 配信しようかっていう話をしてるんですよね。なので、Day 1だけ、そのワークショップの部分を聞きたい方は、Zoom の参加もありにしようかなっていうふうに今思っています。
But of course, there won't be the onsen, there won't be the walks, there won't be the off-Zoom banter and chatter.
そうそうそう。Zoom 切ってる間のね、話とかが面白かったり
There
するん
won't
で
be
す
the
けど。
4-star accommodation
そうそうそうそう。
or the great food. So we really hope you can join us there. That'll make it more fun for everybody. But of course, you know, we're realistic about these things. It's also in the middle of summer and people have other obligations for maybe, you know, for other days, and they can't come down. So there will be a Zoom option, but please, by all means, consider those 2 days, spending it with us, English Uplift, for a huge.
そうですね。あともう一つね、ちょっとごめんなさい、バラバラ言ってね。お一人で参加したい方は全然 OK なんですよ。
No problem.
今まで通りね。
No problem.
以前もちょっとあったんですけど、男性の先生とかだと、ちょっとみんなと一緒っていうのはあれかなとかいうのがあったりしたので、今回、
I've never had a problem with that.
いや、部屋とかね。そうそう。なので、ちょっとすごい数少なくしか。
Good evening. I will be taking my kids. Minori Sensei, it's going to be great seeing you again after all this time. すごいね。会いたいね。
会いたい。
Fantastic.
そうそう。一応シングルの部屋もね、ちょっとだけ取ってあります。だけどやっぱりみんなといろいろね、先生たちといろいろ話し合ったり、子供たち一緒に遊ばせてたりね、できたらいいかなって思うので、楽しみにしててください。みのり先生会いたいね。
That's gonna be great.
本当いいですね。
いいですね。
ということで、ちょっとまたまとめてね、近日中に、ホームページ等で、LINE でね、LINE 公式アカウントの方から案内しますので、チェックしていてください。それでもし、知り合いの英語の先生でね、なんか一緒に行かないっていう方がいたら、ちょっと日付を空けといてみたいな感じで言っていただけると嬉しいです。はい。
Yeah, great. This evening, so as usual, Hirami and I were kind of discussing what we were going to discuss.
なんかね、話したいことは バラバラいっぱいあるんだけど、トピック1個決めてってなるとどうしようってなっちゃうんだよね。
なっちゃうよね。
そうそうそう。
But I just had this weird idea that if, for example, we were going to be interviewed for a new teacher position, which we're not going to, but if we were, what kind of questions would we be asked? And I wonder how we would answer them.
そうそう。だから今回は先生が自分、なんていうのかな、こう、先生として答えてほしいっていうか、先生としてどう答えるかっていうような25の質問を皆さんとやりたいなと思います。これね、見たときにちょっと面白いなと思ったんで、いいよね、こうやってやっぱセルフリフレクションじゃないけど、自分先生としてどうなのっていうのを、ね、
どういうふうに答えるかな。
どういうふうに答えるのっていうのをね、ちょっと面白いかなと思って。
I will tell you the link that I have this information from by the end of this evening's broadcast. But the page discusses common teacher interview questions and how to answer them. Now, the how to answer them part, we're not going to even go down there. What I thought we would do, because I've had a brief look at the questions, but not really thought how I would personally answer them yet. So I want to maybe try it with both of us. And how would we answer this question? And so by all means, go ahead and think about this too. Now, you could imagine yourself in an interview, but on the other hand, I think because if you were being interviewed, you might not answer them entirely as honestly. You'd have in the back of your mind, I need to get the job or whatever. So let's put the job aspect to one side. And just as a teacher, if you were being asked by another teacher, perhaps, not with any job in mind, but just what's your answer to this question? そうしようか。You know what I mean?
そうそう。まあ、ジョブインタビューじゃなくて。
そう、ジョブインタビュー置いといて、たまたま。
そう、でもジョブインタビューで聞かれることってさ、やっぱり大事だったりするじゃない。どういうふうに答えるかっていう部分でね。
まあ、軽く、these are common questions in job interviews, but we're not going for a job interview, but out of interest, how would you answer these questions? そうしようか。はい。Hey, question 1. Why do you want to be a teacher?
これさ。
My answer is I am a teacher. Because I am a teacher.
Right.
I want to be a teacher because I am a teacher.
まあ、どう答えるかちょっと大きながら、質問が大事だから先生メモしてるかもしれないですね。
Why do you want to be a teacher?
これね、すっごく大事じゃない。私はジョブインタビューじゃないけど、必ず先生に聞くじゃん。担任の先生に。どうして先生になったんですかみたいな。
Why do you want to be a teacher? Well, I love questions that begin with why anyway. Why?
でもまあ最初は why でしょ。
Okay, that's my answer to that one. Quite simple.
はい、次。
はい。Okay, question 2, very interesting too. What's your teaching style or philosophy?
Philosophy.
Now, that is a very good, excellent second question because teaching style, I'm not really sure what that means, but teaching philosophy, what's your philosophy? That's something we ask ourselves and we ask the teachers we work with often.
Right.
When your philosophy is clear, the how-to becomes easy.
Right.
We won't go into too much detail about that here, but it is a good question to think about. What's your philosophy as a teacher? What does teaching style mean?
今調べようと思って。
Oh.
なんだろう
Teaching style. Maybe there is no actual definition of it. It's an open-ended question and you are free to answer that as you wish.
教育法だもんね。
Teaching style.
Strategy, resilience.
My style. My style.
なんだろう、あんま聞かないね。聞いたことがないね。
How effective are these 5 teaching styles?
教育スタイル。ああ、ディグニティとかさ、ファシリテーターとかさ、ファシリテータースタイルとか、デモンストレータースタイルとかさ、そういうコーチングスタイルとかさ、そういうんじゃない？
So what's my style?
Student centered みたいな。
Student-centered か。
うん、
Student-centered.
ハイブリッドスタイルだって。
Hybrid style.
でもこれなんかディフィニッションが結構ベイグだから答えにくいね。うん、
But I guess, I don't know if it's my style, but I'm very interested in student-centered education.
あ、でもさ、ちょっと今思い出したけど、うちの娘のほら、言ってた小学校の担任がさ、集団をすごく大切にするって言ったじゃない、みんなでこう何かをすることを大切にするって言ったから、それが彼女のスタイルだよね。
なるほど。
うん、なんかこうみんなとこう仲良くできるようにとか、なんていうのかな、全体主義じゃないけど、なんかそういうのもあったりするのかな。うん。次。
Hey. Number 3. How would you handle a student you found difficult to teach? How would you handle a student you found difficult to teach?
うん。なるほどね。
I've had many students I found difficult to teach.
うん。まあ皆さんい
I
ますよ
think
ね。
so. My approach to that situation is to take a step back
うん。そうね。
and
まず観察する。
so observe carefully, look for an opening
うん。
and build rapport.
うんうん。Very important.
Build rapport. And often change the way you think.
うん。
Because if you
そうだね。
think a student is difficult to teach, that student's going to be difficult to teach.
So true. So true. 先生がそうだと思った瞬間にそうなっちゃうからね。より難しくなっちゃう、ね。
Yeah.
うん、すごいわかる、ね。
In in our Yosei Koza, I often recollect a very important moment in my career
うん。
where I changed the way I thought
うん。
with regards to a difficult student.
うんうん。
She wasn't difficult, but she proved a bit problematic. She wasn't difficult, but her actions and her reactions proved a little bit problematic in a class that was doing really, really well until she came.
Right.
So, of course, I wasn't happy with the situation and I found her a bit difficult. So I totally changed the way I thought based on a small conversation with her, and everything improved after that.
なるほどね。それはあるよね。
So I go into details about that story in our Yonsei Koza. But so change the way you think, take a step back.
それすごくあるよね。うん。なんかこう、どうしようって思っちゃう前に、ちょっと俯瞰するって大事だよね。状況をね。先生がこう難しいと思った時の感情をうまくコントロールしないといけないね。はい。
Shall we go to number 4?
Number 4.
How do you motivate students? I'm guessing.
これさ、でもいい質問だね。
That's a good question. My, again, without thinking too deeply about it, my answer is I try to make them feel success. Because I believe their feelings of success are a very strong gasoline or fuel for their motivation.
True. True.
Particularly success, because people might think, well, that's a vague concept as well. But particularly in the success of having students feel they are using English,
Right.
having students feel success with the 4 skills of speaking, listening, reading, and writing.
うんうん。
So. I think that's in my experience, that's a very key factor to
Right.
students' motivation.
Right.
A lot of
結構
teachers.
でもこれ結構あるよね。今回のリトリートでもすごくポイントになる部分だと思うんだけどね、
うん
このモチベーションっていう部分ね。こうどうエンゲージさせるかとかいう意味でね。
So.
うんうん。
A lot of teachers point to the aspect of fun, that fun can be a motivator in the classroom. I think that's true, but I don't think it should be the goal.
私ね、ファンじゃなくて、should be interesting だと思うんだよね。interesting になってほしいっていうか、いい意味での interesting ね。
or いい意味のファン。
そうそう。だからファニーなファンじゃなくて、なんかこう、ちょっとインテリジェントっていうか、なんていうのかな。
Yeah, I think funny is also important.
まあね。
By keeping the dignity of a teacher, you can still make students laugh.
Right.
And the reason I do it is because if they laugh, then I know they're understanding my English.
そこがさ、その条件があるじゃない？
もちろん。
英語を面白いことを言って、まあ、変なこと言ったらおかしなことを言ってっていう意味での面白いっていうのと、変なことをしてっていうのがあるじゃん。なんか、もう先生がエンターテイナーみたいになっちゃったら、ちょっとね。
That's the wrong approach. I don't, yeah.
あとなんかこう、なんだっけな。
要は、there's a what for between everything I do and say.
そうそう、そこなんだよね。なんかこう、子供たちがわーって喜ぶからってなんだっけな。
It's not fun for the sake of fun.
なんか、お菓子をわーって投げたりとかする先生いたんだよね。子供たちに、なんのレッスンなんかで見たんだよ。インスタグラムかな。ちょっと私びっくりしたんだけどね。子供たちがクリスマスプレゼントだったかな。
Oh, well, that's Christmas.
いや、でも、なんか物をわーって投げて子供がキャーってなるのを楽しんでるっていう。
Yeah, no.
でもね、やっぱモチベーションって小さな成功だと思うんだよね。小さな成功できたとか、だからまたできるかも、またやりたいとかね。逆の人もいるよね。痛い気持ちをいっぱい聞いて、もうそこからこれやらなかったらどうなると思うみたいな恐怖からやらせる先生もいるよね。フィアからね。
フィア。
ほら、コーチングでも快とか不快とか両方あったりするけど、私は快を上げていく方かな。
Shall we move on? Number 5. How do you like to communicate and build relationships with parents?
これね。先生方どうですか？
How do you like to? One thing I don't like doing is socializing.
顔が。
I would rather not. In 27, 28 years of teaching, perhaps, I had a drink with one parent, one father of a student, only because tamatama I discovered that he liked Nihonshu, and I like Nihonshu very much, and we lived fairly close, and there was a really good Nihonshu bar just opened up, and so occasionally, I think maybe 3 times in total, I'd go and have a couple of drinks with him and chat. So.
約束してじゃない。
So. それだけだね。Then there was another time, only recently, maybe this last summer, where tamatama we were in a park with our family, and one of my students' family were also there, and they were having a bit of a party because it was somebody's birthday. So they said, Matthew Sensei, here, have a beer. So we stayed for a couple of beers, and then we left. Ne? 覚えてない。お、みのり先生、ファンは教室に
物理的に行くモチベーションになるかもしれないけど、内容を学ぼうというモチベーションにならないですよね。その
That's a
通り。
very good
その
point.
通り。本当その通り。本当にその通りです、ね。
That's the big difference.
そうそう。
Yeah.
その
学ぼう
意味ではね
する態度
学ぼうとするね。
を
のモチベーション。
育つにはそう
だよね。本当そうだね。このさ、なんかソーシャライズンっていうのは結構、そうだね。マシュー、私もやらなかったね。あんまりお母さんたちとかとこう、あんまりなんか近くなりすぎないっていうか。
Well, the other thing is too, we've always lived fairly close to where our students, especially not in the last year and a half, but before that, so you'd bump into them in the street all the time anyway.
よく会うからね。
Or in the supermarket.
なんか何買ってんのみたいな感じで見られる。そのぐらいはまあいいんだけどさ。
全然いい。But,
だけどまあこういろいろ話しましょうよみたいな感じで行くのあんまり私はしないかな。まあいいとか悪いとかじゃなくてね。
Very simply, just a couple of words before and after lessons occasionally, I think is fine. When it comes to, giving them information about the school or giving them information about upcoming events, we do that through line and things. But I'm not really sure that's building a relationship. I think the best way to build a relationship with parents is through the success that the kids feel.
子供が満足してたらハッピーだったらね。
Yeah.
いいと思うね。
Yeah.
まあでも子供がハッピーかどうかが分かりにくいっていうのもあるから、そこはやっぱ先生のポリシーをどう伝えるかじゃないかな。
そうだよね。If the parents are happy with the
なんかね、お願いとか説得とかこういうことをしようとしちゃうときあるじゃない。説得したいとか納得させたいとかね。そういうのじゃないんだよね。
I haven't really concentrated or felt the need actually to build a relationship with the parents.
ないね。
ない。I think the only time I felt I needed to do that was if a problem happens and they want to know, for example, my child is saying that they don't understand what's happening in your lesson. So I'm like, oh, really? Okay, well, please come down and have a look.
先生がフェアだったら大丈夫じゃない？
Yeah.
何か物事があったときに、ワンウェイで言うんじゃなくて、いろんなアスペクトからこうちゃんと話してくれるとかね、すごく冷静に判断してるっていうのが分かったら、それで信頼できるよね。
Yeah.
なんか一方側のほら意見ばっかり主張する人っているじゃない。
Yeah.
そういうふうにされるとさ、なんかこの先生はフェアに見てないんじゃないかなっていう。こういう問題があった時とかね。
Right.
それはすごくあるかもしれない。あとちゃんと挨拶をするとかさ。
そうだね。
言葉遣いは私すごく気になるんだよね。
Right. 大事だよね。
すごいカジュアルな人っているじゃん。別にいいとか悪いじゃなくて、これ好みの問題かもしれないけど、カジュアルに話すすごく好きではないね。
I don't know because my Japanese isn't that good enough.
Right.
I am very aware of putting mas on the end of everything and
Right.
go in front of words that sound
でもさ、その
important.
デスマス系のさ、ポライトフォームを使わないで喋った瞬間に私、申し訳ないけど、めっちゃくちゃイメージ悪くなるからね。
Is that right? Yeah, I've been careful not to use casual Japanese.
しかも、ネイティブの先生だったらもっと嫌かも。
Well, I think
しょうがない
maybe
と思うけど、しょうがないと思うけど、厳しいかな。厳しいね、私ね。
I think it's important.
上手ですねってなんかそういうんじゃないんだよ。
Well, I think I know who you have in mind when it comes to native teachers who speak Japanese, because I know who you're thinking about. And that particular teacher's Japanese was too casual.
日本にいて相当長いのにさ、とかさ。
Right.
あの人もそうそう。なんかちょっと。
Yeah. Yeah.
文化の違いかもしれないけどね。まあでも日本人でもそうよね。
Next one, question 6. What are you learning right now?
おお。あ、待って。
お
Build a good relationship.
Do
You
you
build a
build
good
good trust?
trust.
That's maybe where I'm coming
そうそう
from.
そうそうそう。Trust だよね。
And it's not something really you need to talk about too much. You know what I mean?
Trust だよね。
That's a good point.
いつもいいことを
Yeah.
言ってくれる先生。
Yeah. Miyoni Sensei, fantastic.
うん。
Great contributor to this broadcast.
Yeah.
Always.
はい。
What are you learning? What are you learning right
さあ
now?
何を習っているか。
I'm learning how to manage my own kids. Our 2 kids.
あ、さあ先生こんばんは。
Sanai Sensei konbanwa. What are you learning right now? What is everybody learning right now? If you're available on the chat box, I'd love to hear your
今
answers.
何を学んでますか
What are you learning right now? Our kids are putting us through a rather tricky time right now, in all sorts of ways. So that's kind of what I'm learning right now.
うん。
Managing our own kids.
固定概念に縛られ自分らしく生きることでしょうか。
Ooh.
それすごく大事ですよね。なんかね、そうそう、固定概念とか常識とか、まあ、自分のビリーフを疑うとかね、すごく大事だ。うん、素晴らしい。ラーニンね、なんだろう、そういうに言われるとなんだろうって思っちゃう。でもさらに磨かれてきたなって思うのは、こう視点を変えるっていうのはすごくこうやってきてることじゃない。だけど視点がもっと高くなった気がする私。もっと大きく見るようになった。それは結構こう今やってきてる、できるようになってきてるところかなって思うね。
いいですね。It's a great question. Tell me about question 7. Tell me about a time when you worked with a team to solve a problem. Well, I always work best in a team anyway. So
そうさ、チームの部分でも思うんだけど、やっぱり三好先生書いてくださったけど、やっぱ trust って大事じゃない？なんかチームだからって言ってこうただやるっていうんじゃなくてさ、その trust があってのチームとしてなった時はそんなに問題ないよね。そんなことない？でも考え方が全然違う場合もあるのか。どうなんだろう。
The word team, I love that word anyway.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I'm instantly applying this to my music area. I'm kind of it's kind of leading me away from the classroom and into the music area. So because I'm also very active in working with other musicians, and we have to form teams. And coronavirus was one of the problems that we had as a team, because some members decided that they needed to stay home. And but we had performances booked, and somebody had to take responsibility for that and try to get other people together because the problem was certain members were missing. So that actually worked out really, really well. Even though this certain team had lost some of members, the members who were around then created a new team that can actually play just as well as the original team. So that's been a very exciting.
でも英語の先生としてだったらどうなんだろうね。
英語の先生として worked with a team to solve a problem. The last problem we had as a team was when we had organized a picnic in the park and it rained.
あったんです
It
よね。
rained. Now, when we left the house, we checked the weather forecast for the last time, and it was rainfall chance percent 20%. We thought, oh, that's fine. It's not going to rain. So we all get down to the park. Meeting time is at 10 o'clock in the morning. Other groups of schools were there as well. Everybody checked the same weather report. 20% chance of rain, no problem. We're not canceling.
他の学校の人たちもいるんですよ。
Yeah. And the
Meeting
park, and you know what, meeting time's always the
Right,
same. Everybody's
right.
meeting at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah.
All the teachers get there before the parents and
Right,
kids.
right.
So at like 9:30, there were like quite a lot of number of teachers, and you can tell they're teachers because they're all wearing the same uniform,
Yeah.
just like we were.
Yeah.
And they were there, they're having their picnic. That's schools having their picnic, you know. And some schools were quite large too, large numbers of teachers.
Right.
And so our team was there as well. 10 o'clock, the first parents start arriving. Then, boom, it pours. And then we check our phones again. Chance of rain, 90%.
いきなり。
いや
今降って
待っ
る。
てよ。
今20だったじゃん。
そう。Then it says, it's going to continue raining until 11 o'clock. So we thought,
待つか待たないかみたいな感じよね。
well, we could quickly send a line to all the mums, stay where you are, let's meet up at 11. And you could see, we stood under the trees. Every other school was like, all under the trees, all on their phones. But then it said, rain is going to fall again from 12. So I thought, we're only going to have an hour.
Yeah.
So we cancelled.
Right.
We postponed it and then had it the following week, and it was lovely. Hey, tell me about a time when you faced a difficult challenge.
もう一回読んであげて。
Tell me about a time when you faced a difficult challenge. Are you prepared to answer that one?
今考えてた。私、これをさ、聞くともう絶対こう、difficult challenge っていうことを聞くと必ず思い出すことがあるの。
Yeah. I think any challenge that you have, whatever it is, please know that it can be overcome. Please also know that it was probably sent your way for a reason. And the reason for that challenge coming your way is for growth.
そう、チャレンジは絶対自分が気づかなきゃいけないメッセージを送られてきてるのね。で、厳しければ辛ければ大変なほど、そこまでしないとあなた気づかないじゃんっていうメッセージだと思ってるのよ。だからなんかうわーってなんかあった時には、ごめん、分かった、もう気づいたからっていう、I surrender な気持ちになるわけ。ありがとうと、分かりました。
And certainly, communicating well is a key part of overcoming that particular challenge.
まあでも私はもうそうね、どうしてもバーコードリピーターを思い出しちゃうね。
The barcode repeater. So we were talking about our experience in the public elementary schools all those years ago. And at the time,
忘れられないね。
the city that we worked at was pushing for this gadget called a barcode repeater, which consisted of a barcode reader inside a kind of teacher's textbook, because the kids didn't have a textbook.
No.
And certain English expressions and vocabulary could be repeated.
なんか読むとこう、
Right.
ペンタイプで上からなぞると音が出るっていうやつね。
Right. So the kids would listen and repeat it. Listen and repeat it. Turn the
先
page.
生喋んなくていいように。
So. It was awful.
ひどかったね。
It
なんかね、なん
was
かね、difficult challenge イコールバーコードレピーターみたいになって私の中で
the
ね。
barcode repeater. Now,
まあいいよ。
it may sound rather, oh, it could be useful. But in fact, when we tried it, because we were told you have to try it, please design lessons that involve it. But it was so hard. And there were so many problems with not reading well and stuff and that. And in the end, we were like, we don't think we can use it. And they said, well, we have to because
いや私
we've
言いに行ったんだよね。
yeah, because the city has bought like one for every classroom in every school. So they spent a fortune on this barcode repeater. And there's no way they could say we can't use it.
最初は使えるかどうかも含めてって言われて、いくから使えませんって言ったら、使えないって言っちゃダメなんだって言われて、なんでダメなんですかみたいな感じになっちゃったんだね。まあいいや。はい、次。思い出したくもないね。
で、結局 they don't use it.
いや、今は使ってないよ。
Right.
だって今私言ったじゃん。何年か前にさ、行った時に私が作ったカリキュラムまだ使ってたもんね。歌とか。
Yeah, the curriculum's there, but not barcode
い
repeater.
やだってまあいいや。はい。
Hey. Tell me about a time when a situation changed or something unexpected happened at work and how you dealt with it.
もう一回読んで。
Tell me about a time when a situation changed or something unexpected happened at work and how you dealt with it.
あんまり。
Well, situations change. That's the nature of work. Particularly when it comes to teaching. It's not like a regular job. I mean, it is a regular job, but I used to work in Australia when I was like in my early 20s. I worked as a stock receiver for a large, like, Yamada Denki みたいな感じの shop. So you just got boxes of stock, you opened them up, you checked them against the invoice, and you price tag them. And that was it. All you needed to do was work with boxes and paper. So there was nothing really unexpected, nothing changed. The only unexpected thing was if the number was not right or one of the stock was damaged. So you had to then fill out a new report, a different report. That was the only unexpected thing that ever happened. But when it comes to teaching,
As a teacher.
the kids are so unexpected.
そうなんだよね。
One of my students recently was really upset because he didn't want to eat his lunch. He wanted to go straight for his dessert. He's like, dessert, jelly. We're like, no, you have to eat. At least try to eat your lunch.
Try a bit. Yeah.
Try. He's like, no. And we said, look, we're really sorry. You can't. Yeah. All right. Have this much. He's like, no. And he got himself so upset that he threw up. ほら、小さい子の持ってさ。
でもさ、うちの結構ほら、絶対食べなきゃダメって言うじゃないですかね。食べてから。そうなんだけど。
いや、the thinking behind it is that that's the lunch that the parents have provided.
Right.
So that's what the parents are assuming or expecting their child to eat. So we don't have the kids make the kids eat everything, of course not. But the idea is, well, show your mum that you've made a good effort. Okay. And some of the kids say, Matthew, I don't like this. I'm like, try it. Okay. Still don't like it? No. All right, fine. Tell your mum. You know?
Yeah.
So, and in the end, ultimately, all the kids eat very well.
Right. 私、もしそういうふうになったら、こっちを食べてからって言っても、って言ったら、コンディションかな。デザート食べたらご飯食べるかって。 Yes って言ったらいいよっていう。
先にデザート食べさせて、
これ食べてからお弁当もちゃんと食べるかって聞いて、Yes って言ったら食べていいっていう。
Oh, what if they get too full from the dessert?
食べてって。それこそ食べてって。約束だから食べてって。You say yes, so try it. 基本的にやっぱご飯食べてから食べてもらいたいのあるよ。でもそこまで言うんだったら、こっち食べてこっち食べたかったら、まあそれでもいいよっていう私は。
Might try that.
結構上の子とかそうだよね。あなたも私結構それ許しちゃうんだよね。これ食べるんだったら食べていい。
And how has it worked?
食べるよ。先に許してもらえたって思うからみたい。基本的にはそうだけど、でも別にいいんじゃない？デザートからちょっとだけ食べたかったら食べてご飯食べようと思えば。
Yeah, might try it.
いいと思う。
Tell me about a time when someone gave you feedback and how you handled that.
もう一回読んで。
Tell me a time when someone gave you feedback and how did you handle it?
Thank you. どうだろうね。フィードバックでしょ？
I welcome feedback, particularly if you're coming to watch a lesson. I don't necessarily want or need praise, but I am interested in what did you see?
でもほら、よく見てほしいポイントを先に言って授業を見てもらうのと、こうなんとなく見てこうフィードバックするのと全然違うじゃん。
Yeah. I don't think so. Maybe in our Yosei Koza, I do focus teachers' attention on certain points when they watch a video or of a lesson, because that's what we're talking about at the time. A specific area. But if that's not the case, then I tend not to give away too much background information about the class or too much.
まあ実際見てどう感じたかって
そう
ことだもんね。でもそのフィードバックっていう言葉をまたさ、こう聞くと自動的に出るのがさ、私のほら恩師に言われたさ、フィードバックを言語化できなかったら先生やるなみたいな。ざっくり言うとね。ゼリーが無限にあるならご飯食べなくなっちゃうけど、もしそれ1個しかないならいいんじゃないかな。入っちゃうよりはゼリーしか食べられませんでしたの方が保護者としては嬉しいかも。そうそう、私もそう思う。
なるほど。
そうそう。だってデザートそんなに多くないしさ。
でも That's actually his jelly. He used to come with two smaller ones, but recently he's been coming with one big one.
そうなんだ。じゃあそしたらさ、お母さんにさ、デザートばっかり食べたいって言ってるから、ちょっと小さめにしてくださいってお願いして、そういう状況があったら、ゼリーから食べてもいいんじゃない？でも私だったら聞くね。ちゃんと。食べたいの分かったって。でも、ご飯を食べるんだよって。それ約束できるかって。ノーって言ったらゼリーもダメ。だけど。わかんない。基本的に、いや、食べようよだよ。順番別にいいじゃん。
まあね。
そこはあなたのビリーフじゃない。ご飯から食べなきゃいけないっていう。本当にご飯から食べなきゃいけないんですかって話じゃない。だってあれじゃん、ちょっとリンゴちょっとかじってから食べようとか言わない？なんかこう、ご飯食べててさ。
Well, actually, maybe no, because that's never even crossed my mind.
Right, そっか。それをそんなゼリーを持たせてる保護者の問題、そりゃ食べたいですよ。大きいから食べたくなっちゃうね。お母さんに頼む、ちゃんと。
But recently, he's been really good. So I've been sitting with him and helping him. Sometimes too, the parents prepare food that's too big and the kids kind of sit looking at it for ages. But if you make it smaller, then no problem. So that was kind of the problem with
イメー
him.
ジかもね。
Yeah,
もううちの娘もそうだね。
yeah,
見た目ではこれ食べられないかもと思ったら急に食べないっていう
right.
選択をしちゃ
But
う。
when you put it on a smaller plate,
So-
bit by bit,
たら
then-
食べるみたいな
yeah.
ね。
So yeah, and actually lunchtime with this particular kid has
うん
been quite good fun.
うん。
Hey, question 12. Walk me through a typical lesson. Now, we're not going to do that here.
Yeah.
Walk me through a typical lesson. That's a very interesting,
どうする先生方はね。
yeah. Typical lesson. Yeah.
どれをティピコルというかだよね。だからほら、スタイルが決まってる人とかだと、歌ってフラッシュカードしてとか、
Right.
ね、フォニックス
まあ
得意とか、かな。
I
あなたの場合はあれじゃない？もう、ノンターゲットイングリッシュアプローチなんじゃないの？
so no.
うん。
That's everywhere.
うん。それしかないよね。それしかないっていうか、それが一番わかりやすい。わかりやすそうでわかりにくいかもしれないけど。
そうなんだよ。
わかりそうでわかり説明が必要かもしれないけどね。でもマシューらしいって言ったらもう絶対子供の発音を引き出す仕掛けじゃない。
So
教えるんじゃなくて引き出す。あ、そうするとスタイルって今そうだね。今思い出すけど、教えるんじゃなくてエリシ
だね。
エリシットだね。
Did I ever tell you? This is a very, very long time ago. And I had some time
うん。
because I wasn't really working in the mornings. I was only working in the afternoons. And I thought, maybe I can just pick up some more teaching work in the morning somewhere. And I already had a few business classes with our friend.
うん。
And there was this job interview for, I think, morning classes or it was kind of, you can pick and choose hours and stuff. There was a company looking for teachers. So I went to this job interview and they said, hi, you Matthew, all right, hi. Okay, I'd like you to design a lesson to show us. We'll give you like 15 minutes or 20 minutes to prepare it. And if you could just like walk us through that lesson. I'm like, you're all right. And they said, so the grammar point is, I have never been to blah, blah, blah. That's the grammar point. And so we'd like you to teach that grammar point. Imagine you have some students and they need to teach that point. So go ahead and prepare that lesson. I'm like, all right. So I was sat at a desk, I had some paper and a pencil or whatever. And I just immediately drew places, just like pictures, and then put place names under it. And I drew pictures of places, different places that I knew.
絵を描いたんだ。
Yes, that I knew that the people who were interviewing me had definitely never been to. Okay?
Yeah.
So one of them was like Mexico City, right? Another one was like Botswana or somewhere. And it was in the end, I was like, so I drew pictures and I said, do you know this place? And they said, no. I said, could you write the name of this place under? Trying to elicit, where is it?
Yeah.
Right? They finally did.
Yeah.
And I went, oh, this is Mexico City. And they wrote Mexico City. And this one too, where is it? This is Botswana. Botswana. And then in the end, I said, tell me, Botswana, is it a nice place? I said, what? I said, is it a nice place? And they said, I don't know. I said, You don't, why don't you know? So the whole idea is to have them feel, I've never been
行っ
there.
たことないし。
Right.
うん
So 結局 I was trying to get to elicit
うん
that.
うん
I failed the interview.
だから
They
さ
said,
回りくどいんでしょ
so,
多分その人はこうタイムラインみたいなの書いて You are here
right,
Your
right,
baby.
right, right,
ベイビーで
right,
この間にみたいな
right.
From
They-
when you were born and now
So they wanted me to teach the meaning
Right
of I've never been there.
Right
But I was teaching them the feeling
Right
of I've never been there. So they were like, oh, yeah, right. Anyway, I never heard from them again.
でもそういうふうに聞かれたらさこういうふうにやるんだろうなっていう思うよねでも大体そのパターン使わない
Yeah.
こうタイムライン使ったりとかさこれアーツとかインとかこう絵で描いたりとかさまあいいや、うん、
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You know?
So they want to have the kids understand.
なるほどっていう
Right.
わかりやすいみたいなそれを期待してたんでしょ、
Yeah.
うん、
He
全然違うことしてる
そうなんだよ。だってそっちの方がいいでしょ。大事って気持ちいい。
いやまずそっちが先よねあなたの feeling が先よ言いたいとか必要な英語が先で
もちろん。
and then
Give them the English.
その後にほら私が日本語を教えてる時はそのスタイルだったんだよ、
Right.
まずやってサマリーだけは英語で書いて子供に渡すみたいな
Right. What questions do you have for me? Okay. でね。No.
もう25個やらないのね
There are some bonus ones down here. ちょっと待って。Why are you interested in teaching?
あれもう25個終わった
That was not 25, but the bonus ones down here. The rest are down here. Why are you interested in teaching?
うん
What is your greatest professional accomplishment? Professional accomplishment.
Professional それは
Um,
ディグリーとかいうこと
no, no. I think
ワードとか
award or, for example, I helped a student pass Aiken level, blah, blah, blah,
right.
and now they're living in Canada.
うんうんうんとか
Right.
そういう
I think my greatest professional accomplishment is to continue teaching for 27 years,
そうだねよくやってるよね
particularly in Japan.
Right
Um,
すごいね
also being privileged to speak with so many teachers
うんうん
and being asked to present at quite a number of
うんうん
workshops and things. Next
No,
one,
no,
how
no,
do you
no.
use technology in the classroom?
うんうん
I use my iPad
うんうん
quite a bit
うんうん
and a Bluetooth speaker.
うんうんうん
That's about it. Yeah. What do you do?
あれじゃないよく電子黒板だったり子供たちにタブレット使わせるかとかそういうことも含むんだろうね
Yeah, I've never used one. I've never even like touched one. Are they fun?
便利だけど私やっぱりなんていうのかな古臭いのかな映像とか出すときにはいいけどなんか文字とかほらだって英語のやつとかもあるじゃんもうチャンツとかアニメになって出てきたりとかさいるあれって思っちゃうんだよねあんまり好きじゃないかな
How do they work? Is it a bit like the weatherman on TV, like with a big stick and touches like icons that then show
どっち
rain?
かっていうとあれに近いよビッグ iPad に近いよ
Oh, really?
でもビッグ
A
iPad
big
の、
iPad. Well, that's all right.
ちょっと言い方違うかな。ものによるよ。だ
It,
いたいどっち
an
かというとスクリーン
iPad
に
the size of a whiteboard?
そこまで、
最高じゃん。
そこまであれじゃないかもしれないけど。
それ欲しいね。
映像を出したりとか、
インターネットでしょ？
インターネット。
すごい。
だから子供たち、ほら、先生たち YouTube つなげて、YouTube バンって大きいスクリーン
Just
で見
turn
る
off
と
the
か
lights and it's on.
うん。
Well, that's all right.
うん。
Can we get one? For home entertainment.
うちあるじゃん、これ。
Hey, what would you do if a student is in danger of failing your class? What would you do if a student is in danger of failing your class? I think maybe if you feel that this child is going to perhaps withdraw, or you feel that, or the parents are saying that my kid is thinking about quitting, or one of the kid is getting busy. We speak with the student, of course,
うん。
but also we work with the parents, because often the parents don't want the child to quit.
うん。
So we focus on having that student feel more success,
うん。
and often change the homework strategy
うん。
so that they maybe can just take it easy and don't
Mm.
feel, sometimes they feel pressure from homework.
うん。
So we just kind of take it easy. But we have had some possible dropouts that we managed to turn around
うん。
using that strategy. Next one. What adjectives would you use to describe your presence in the classroom?
これ面白くない？もう一回読んであげて。
What adjectives?
うん。
どういう形容詞?
うん。
What adjectives would you use to describe your presence in the classroom?
うわ形容詞だね。
うん。
先生を形容詞で表すとしたら、教室の中での自分でしょ？
Maybe engaging, but not always, because some kids don't watch and don't listen.
難しいね。形容詞か。フェアじゃない？
Yes.
うん。
Your presence in the classroom. Fair. And I think caring.
うんうん。
And strongly willed. That is, and maybe even desperate. Desperation. I'm desperate. Desperate to get the kids to speak out.
うんうんうんうんうん。
難しいね。先生たち大丈夫ですか? How would you what adjectives would you use to describe
う
your
ん。
存在
そ
in the classroom?
う。形容詞。
厳しいではない, I don't think.
うん。
There's some people think I am.
顔が厳しく見えるんじゃない？
集中してるかな?
集中してるかどうかは周りから見たら分かんないからさ。ましてはちょっと顔に出すぎるよね。顔にすぐ出ちゃうからね。
How do you deal with pressure or stressful situations? I play music.
そうだね。
That's therapy for me.
そうミュージックはセラピーだって言ってるのね。ヒーリングセラピー。私わかんないんだよね。どうしてんだろう。私はフラッと出かけるから。
そうだね、散歩とか。
うん、なんか、行ったことないとこに無償に行きたいっていう。今のこの現状がもうすごくちょっと難しいなとか、スタックすると、 その現状から抜けたいっていう気持ちがあるからだと思うけど、その現状の外に出たいんだよね。だから行ったことないところとか、ふっと行こうみたいな感じになる。
Well, also, recently,
うん、
we've been enjoying night picnics
そうそうそうそう。
by the river,
うん、
especially because it's been hot. We'll just like get a bento or get some things for a
なんか
nice
ね、
evening picnic.
夕食をさ、ただ詰めて外に出るだけなんだけど、食べるのが家のダイニングじゃなくて外っていうだけなんだけどね。
そう。いいね。
でもそれも、
Relaxing だね。Hey, what makes you unique? She makes me unique.
でも C っていないじゃん、誰かの。誰かの。
そうか。そうか。
うん。What makes you unique?
Well, being with you makes me unique.
だそうです。先生たちどうやって答えるんだろうね。
Tell me about a time when you helped someone become more successful. What time is it now? That's my job.
そうだよね。
A time when you helped someone become more successful. That's what we are supposed to do
うん。
as a teacher.
みんな、
Hey,
その successful の意味だよね。
all right.
大きなサクセスとかいうことなのかわかんないけど。
いいんじゃない？
言葉に
ここまで。
言葉が気になっちゃうね。
言葉？
25あげた？私25って書いちゃったのに。
Not all of them are very interesting.
あ、そうなんだ。だそうです。ごめんなさいね。
ごめんなさい。
25って言っときながら。
適当に。うん。
なるほどね。
そう。もういいじゃない？
今いくつあげたんだろう。10ぐらいしかあげてないんじゃない？
No, with about 20.
そう。本当？
大丈夫。Okay. So, which was the most interesting question? Let's go back and have a look at them. Out of those questions, let's go through them again.
うん。
Why do you want to be a teacher?
Number one。うん。
What's your teaching style or philosophy? How would you handle a student you found difficult to teach? How do you motivate students? How do you like to communicate and build relations with parents? What are you learning right now? Tell me about a time when you worked with a team to solve a problem. Tell me about a time when you faced a difficult challenge. Tell me about a time when a situation changed or something unexpected happened at work and how you dealt with it. Tell me about a time when someone gave you feedback and how you handled that. Walk me through a typical lesson. What questions do you have for me? Then the other ones down here. Why are you interested in teaching? What is your greatest professional accomplishment? How do you use technology in the classroom? What would you do if a student is in danger of failing your class? What adjectives would you use to describe your presence in the classroom? How do you deal with pressure or stressful situations? What makes you unique? Tell me about a time when you helped someone become more successful. There they are. What's the most interesting question for you? The most interesting question was, what are you learning right now? I think for me, what are you learning right now? But of course, that's for me personally, that's a very interesting question. But for teachers to try to get an answer, certainly, why do you want to be a teacher? Certainly, what's your teaching philosophy? How do you motivate students? Mainly, those are the three most important questions. Maybe not necessarily the most interesting questions, but I think very important questions.
Philosophy かな。
Yeah.
どういうことを大切にしてるかっていうのは知りたいね。 よね。
Do you think these questions, I mean, let's go back to a job interview. Do you think these questions can give you a lot of information about the teacher?
私はあんまそう思わない。
あんまりそう思わないよね。なんか it's missing something.
なんかそれを聞いてやれるかどうかって雇うかどうかってあんまり
I used to do I used to interview teachers for positions at my old school.
Right.
And I always asked them, what interests you most about education? Which I think is a very good question. And then get ideas on what they say. Some teachers have never thought about that. And they'll go, then you think, okay. That tells me a lot about that teacher.
Right.
I don't ask them, I should ask them, what's your philosophy? What's your teaching philosophy?
It's really hard to
that puts
answer.
people on the spot if they haven't thought about that. So, but then I also say, I ask them the question, what's important to you in the classroom?
That's a really good question.
You'll get a lot of information about where that teacher is by their answer to that question. And the other thing I often do is show them some video footage and ask them to tell me what they see. Now, this is an important one because teachers, if they watch a video or they watch somebody else's class, their first comment or their early comments will always be about something that they think is important.
Yeah, true.
They only focus they focus mainly on what they think is important in the classroom. So when they start talking about what they see, they'll say, the students are doing this, or the students are responding well, or the students are sitting very nicely. Then you know kind of what they focus してるか、興味、そう。
それはすごくある。
But as a result, I found some pretty good teachers. And when I was interviewing teachers, I found and ended up working with some pretty talented.
何を大切に思ってるかっていうことが一番大事だよね。
Yeah.
なんかほら、発音が上手ですねとか言われると、そっちかなって他にないのかなとか思ったりするじゃん。
でね、you'd be surprised. I would have thought that if any teacher sees any of my lessons where the kids are using so much English, you'd think that would be the first thing that they comment on, but you'd be surprised. I've only interviewed native teachers. Now, when I've done workshops or worked with Japanese teachers in seminars and stuff, and I showed videos, that's the first thing that Japanese teachers comment on. Is that, wow, your kids are speaking lots of English. But native teachers very rarely even point it out. And I'm like, can't you look at all the English they're using? They don't really even.
そうかな。そう、なんでそう思ったの？
I've never had anybody comment on that.
私聞いたよ。私は聞いてたよ。なんであんたに喋るのって。
From a native teacher?
Yeah.
But not in the interviews. In interviews.
インタビューね。
そう。That's what I'm saying.
でもそれ経験がどのくらいあるかによるんじゃない？
そうだよね。
経験がどのぐらいあるかさ、プレスクールの経験がどこでプレスクールやってたかっていうのも関係あるかもしれないし。
まあね。
で、あと、その話すっていうことに関してさ、量とクオリティってあるじゃない。クオリティとクオンティティの違いみたいなね。すごくカジュアルな、キャッチボール的なものはすごくできても、その内容的にさ、自分の意見を言うとか、考えて言うとか、なんていうのかな。
まあね。
そのエデュケーショナリーなレスポンスっていうのかな。
And I guess the more kids speak out, the more 発音気になるとか、そういう先生もいるじゃない？
そうね。私でも思うのは、なんていうのか、カジュアルな意思疎通ができる子はいるかもしれない。例えばプリスクールとかね。だけど、自分の頭で考えて自分の意見を言うっていうような英語が出てるかっていうと別だと思うのよ。例えばほら、歌とかを教えたりいろんなことやってするといろいろ喋るじゃん。でもそれって、内容だよね。どんなことを子供が話してるのかっていう意味でのよく喋ってるねが見たいんだよ、私は。ただたわいもない、なんていうのかな。わかる？
わかる。そうだよね。でも内容に関してはちょっと特に問題ないと思うんだけど、also I think it depends on the age group, like you said. Maybe preschool kids, when they're using a lot of English, I think maybe teachers have an image that's 当たり前 because they're there all day とかね。
だってさ、プリスクール行かせてってさ、英語喋れないってさ、意味わからなくない？意味わからないっていうか、要はさ、意味わからないって言い方ちょっと言葉悪いけど。
Most of the experience that preschool, a lot of kids have at that age is that the teachers they can understand English, but they don't necessarily speak English with each other or even with the teacher. Often what happens in Japanese kids' English preschools is that the kids will speak Japanese, the teacher translates their English into their Japanese into English, but then the moment moves on.
Right. それは一般の英会話でもよくある。
Right. でもいろいろありますね。But I guess elementary school, if you have a class of elementary school kids who are not using any Japanese in class, I think that's pretty, and they're using a lot of English in class, I think that tends to raise eyebrows a little bit. Anyway, there you have it.
先生が質問すれば答えるみたいなのはあるかもしれないけど、自発的になんか言うとかいうのはあんまりないんじゃないかな。
There you have it. Interesting questions to reflect on and try to answer.
自分を形容詞でっていうのは面白いね。でもそれって自分のポリシーに近くなってくるんじゃない？
そうかもね。Yeah. When can we expect more information about the retreat?
Up to us でしょ。
It's up to us. We're working hard on it, and we will. We're definitely solidifying the program, solidifying the
今週末には出す
the schedule.
でね、今回は一気にその募集をかけてからもう1週間ぐらいでクローズしちゃおうかなと思ってる。
Right.
またね、7期もまだもうちょっとあるしね。
Right.
最後の。
So please stick around. Please stay not focused. But stay tuned to Hiromi's line, and more information will be coming through there. Is that right? That's the first one.
LINE 公式アカウントから
少しずつ
お知らせしますので、ぜひ興味がある方は見ていてください。で、もしせっかくだからね、一泊なので一緒に先生と行きたいなっていう人がいたら、声をかけていただいてたら嬉しいですし、何よりもlearn, relax, refresh で行きたいなと今年はね。
And the location for that is perfect. So check your schedule again. Circle those dates in big red
でぜひね、
pens.
みんなで
Yeah.
楽しく。
Yeah, we had really great retreats.
そう、インフォメーションギャップに特化したことってしたことがなくて、ちょっと本当は専科でもやろうかなって言ってたような内容だったから、それもリトリートでしっかりやります。
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the great comments. Minori Sensei, fabulous as usual. Sanai Sensei, thank you. Sachi Sensei, thank you. And we will see you maybe not next Tuesday.
そうね。ちょっと来週はタグラグビーがあるみたいかな。
So it might be Thursday. Don't know.
ちょっと日付を変更してる
Yeah,
かもしれ
again,
ませんけ
stay
ど、
tuned with Hiromi's line account. Thank you very
ありが
much
とうございます。
and good night.
おやすみなさい。私ちょっとやることが
Our kids. That's kind of what I'm learning. I'm learning about our kids' management. Ma, were you a difficult kid?
私は全然ジェフコキッズじゃなかった。
Neither was I.
うん、
I was the youngest, and I think all my brothers and sisters kind of.
うん、
I watched very carefully what got mum and dad angry and thought, well, I'm not going to do
私
that.
はあんまりそういう感じじゃなかった。全く問題なかったね。うん、
Well, I don't think the kids are like being problematic. They're going through their own learning experiences.
うん
But of course, it's rough being a parent, isn't it?
うん、
I've always thought it's easy to be a teacher. Look after other kids.
でもそれさ、
わかるでしょ。
みんな思ってると思うよ。生徒にはいいんだけど、自分の子にダメっていう。
So
あるあるだよね。
I've got all the patience in the
う
world.
ん、あ、そう
Oh, thank you as always. Can't wait for my kids to meet you.
Mm-mm.
We can't wait to meet
本
them.
当、
Thank you very much,
ありが
Mino
とうござい
Sensei.
ます。
Thank you.
そう、
ね、
生徒にはうまくできるのに自分の子供には難しいっていうか、もうあるあるだよね。
そう
これは何だろうね。これはやっぱちょっとステップバックして見るの大事。すっごく冷静にね。
Okay, good night. Thank you very much.